All right, Faye, kick us off.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world as this podcast kicks off. This is Next Narrative Detroit. My name is Phaedra Wainaina, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Richard Grundy and Dwayne Barnes. And today we come together with another episode. For everyone who is tuning in, I just wanted to share that one of our lovely co-hosts, Dr. Patrice Johnson, is out practicing self-care, radical self-care, if I do say so myself. She's enjoying a trip, so she will not be joining us today, but she is with us in spirit as always. Today's lineup is kind of hot. I'm excited. We had quite a bit of conversation before we came live with you guys, including we are going to touch on topics like education and economics, the most recent crypto crash, burn, and bounce back, politics, both on the city of Detroit's atmosphere and globally. More importantly, the housing bag. What is it looking like? What does your real estate portfolio look like? What should we be expecting moving forward? And then we're going to lighten it up at the end with a little pop culture. We are going to talk about highlights, including Kwame Brown, Black Panther 2, J. Cole's retirement from an industry that you wouldn't think he was involved in. And then we'll close out with well wishes and some tips and tricks from the team. All right. Gentlemen, I want to start with that crypto bounce back. I'm coming with my tail between my legs. Hey, cousins, it's me. I told y'all to buy Dogecoin, and Rich was like, I don't trust it. My big brother was right, y'all. I was wrong. And for me, I think that I can be honest enough with myself to say that I started gambling. So in addition to my actual crypto portfolio, I have a full investment account with a brokerage firm that they manage. I see quarterly data reports. I jumped on a crypto bandwagon because, like most Black people who have had any poverty adjacent experiences, I was looking for a come up. I was looking for the next quick lick. If I'm being honest, y'all know we have seen our cousins out here being blessed with the money that is floating around as a result of it. Okay. PPP who? Now listen, some of us is out there being touched by unemployment as well. So there was a ton of money being passed around in our.
That was some melodies from heaven right there.
Raining down, okay? He was out here anointing and touching all of the households, okay? And for me, I just wanted a part of that bag. I felt like it was an easy time for me to become a millionaire, and crypto was something that I could trust. But to that point, when I think about the billionaires, because if I'm being honest, I want to be a billionaire. The billionaires that I admire, the billionaires that I look forward to, who have built wealth over their lifetime, those individuals invest in infrastructure. And one of the things that Dwayne and I was talking about is that Warren Buffett, when he owns Coca-Cola, he drinks Coca-Cola products solely. Because guess what? The stocks that I own in this company are paying for my consumption of this good anyway. When he owned Pepsi, he only drank Pepsi products. So now I'm reframing my cryptocurrency mindset. Like, okay, what am I investing in, and how does that actually pour into my lifestyle? Because realistically, I don't want to buy something that's not going to give me a return at least 4 times over. I need that money to flip 3 to 4 times before it leaves again. So I wanted to actually go to Richard because Dwayne and I talked about this a little bit. But I know that you are the crypto expert on the team. So
listen, I was gonna lob it over to him. I can't wait to take on it.
So I want to hear why you told me I wasn't ready. I don't think so. Last time we talked, and then how you feel now.
So I started investing in crypto in 2017. I bought it. I got in when it was around 5,000. Rode it all the way up to 20,000. Started buying all type of cryptos all over the place, right? Different altcoins or whatever. And watched it go all the way down. You know what happened when it went down? I sold it. I literally sold Bitcoin at the very bottom, right? So I kind of have seen what happens with like cryptocurrencies and everything like that. Then it shot up, we all know it went up to 60 and now it's about 35,000 right now. But for me, one thing that I'm just trying to do as I become a better investor is just to understand what I'm investing in and really believe whatever I'm investing in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of sick because you said you're sick because you got into Dogecoin. I'm sick because I ain't making no money off of it because I stuck so hard to my guns as far as like I'm not investing in it because it brings no value, that I kind of lost out by not playing it and riding that wave. And we see AMC right now is kind of up
Again,
stupid high right now, right? And that's just, I think, the kind of the market that we're in right now. But I think
I want to shout out Brother John, because in the midst of the pandemic, August 2020, he told me to invest in AMC, and this is up right now. Okay. But,
you've been in it since then. Yeah.
I literally watched one of my homeboys because we texting as we trade and stuff, and he literally, he was like, have y'all seen that movie Blow? Let me ask y'all that. When my man was testing out, they was in Cali, he was testing out that pack, and he was like, 70% purity, 80%. That's how Dog was shouting it out yesterday when he was looking at his AMC options go up. He was like, I'm up 25%, 35%, 45%. It was literally going up like that. But no, for cryptocurrency, what I do, or what I would recommend my close friends and family to do, is just put in a little bit every week or whatever. Pick, some things that you actually believe in, have high conviction in, and don't look at it. You know what I mean? So I do that with Bitcoin now and Ethereum now. And I just couldn't get into the Dogecoin thing because I knew what it was. And I've never had success in like gambling, like in those type of things. I'm always the one holding that bag at the end. But you still got your Doge coins, all right?
Yeah, I'm not. So I was having this conversation with Dwayne. You lose money in the market when you take it out. So as long as I play,
that's when you right.
It's gonna come back
until it makes me money. Now, granted, the return may not be as nice as if I don't know where, because at this point I don't even know how to make money because
so I don't know how much is that. So listen, I got a take I wanted to throw out here. I think one thing that I think was interesting about the this ride on crypto, especially if about a year, I think everybody's kind of been in, at least a year, pandemic time to now, is that we're able to see its effect not only on the markets, but on governments, on, volatility, on getting people involved. Like it's doing. So if you're following along, you're getting a lesson in economics, a lesson in market share, so many lessons along the way. If you're willing to, if you play in the game and so that one thing is good. But I'll say that one thing about crypto that I think is so interesting is that, and this is kind of segueing us into kind of the financial regulatory side a little bit, is that when it started to become a real player, it has to now go through the tinks and the pulls of what currency goes through in its normal state. So we've seen how its position affected the market and how people didn't like it. We saw how, even Facebook and governments and banks starting to institutionalize it. We're going to use, digital currency. We're going to base it off of blockchain technology. So it's just kind of taking its pulls and its turns to becoming the currency of the future. So that's the interesting thing. Now, even if you look at how in the midst of its rise during, all that pandemic money from Trump when he dropped the first stimulus, to the ones that the Biden campaign and everything that's going on. So we've been seeing it play with so much money in the market. So it's been moving so much. And I think my final take on it is this. I think that it's something that you really have to have a strong position in, but not just from what somebody told you. Like you really have to do, and I know I'm gonna be that guy, but you have to kind of do the knowledge on the products that you're looking to find yourself in, and not just the product in and of itself, the environment in which that it thrives, how it responds to certain things. So like, even if you looked at, like I think we were saying earlier, up until maybe Q2, crypto was outperforming, stocks. Since then, stocks been outperforming crypto as we ride until, this part of the year. And it'll be interesting as we see how regulatory measures are going, how we're looking to either win or lose with it. And then my final take is this: one thing that really got me out of the Dogecoin, which I got a little bit, but I kind of changed my position on it and kind of stirred up some other things that I like a little bit more, is that when billionaires, like even some we love, my main man Elon, my main man who own the Mavericks, when they start having conversations about the investments at this level, you can tell that the play is kind of getting out of your hands. So I say this today, we make our millions off of it because we got so much of it, and then we can get off of it, and then who get left holding the bag? So I was like, whoa, exactly. It's a very, they're going to take their wins, and we dumb enough to go behind them, but you don't know that the market is about timing. So you got fucked up just holding the bag. They got it already. When y'all start buying, it was good. They were exiting out while y'all were buying in. And I'm not saying that in a critical sense. I'm just saying it as just understanding kind of how it was moving. But I will say this: a strong position in crypto will be necessary if you're looking to build long term. Now, listen, we know the laws of compound in 20 years and all that stuff. Crypto has to be a strong position in your portfolio. And I'm not a financial professional. I just know that based on how it's turning into the new kind of gold standard, once they can regulate it and get what they want out of it, that's going to be the position that has the most a chance to see the highest returns, just because of what it is and how it's built.
Yeah, I think so. You said a lot. One thing, I think some of those people, I think they were playing with us. Mark Cuban saying like, okay, I'll accept Dogecoin, or the Mavericks will accept Dogecoin. Okay, maybe that's cool or whatever. Elon, right, who was really the biggest manipulator of it, right? Yeah. So he said, he would tweet all these things out or whatever, but then it comes out Tesla bought $2.5 billion of Dogecoin. I'm sorry, Bitcoin. Buy $2.5 billion Dogecoin with all that shit you're talking. You know what I'm saying? Like buy $2.5 billion of Dogecoin if that's what it is. Which he didn't do, right? So, I think I think we were definitely manipulated, and that's just the market right now, or whatever. But I think that's something to kind of keep in mind as well. But just understanding that Dogecoin came out as a joke initially, that's something to kind of think about and keep in mind when we're making these investments.
I also wanted to throw something else in there that Pedro and I talked about in pre-pro. Just the idea of now that everybody is seeing or was able to see kind of the market is out there. There's chance to get money. You got money either through however this money been flowing. It's been a lot of poverty pimping around, getting people into the markets, getting people into financial, giving financial advice that really shouldn't be. So, what's your take on that? Like we're in a place now where people feel they have some information, people got money somehow and want to get it in the market. It's a lot of people saying you can get rich tomorrow or all this other stuff. And these are real consequences because it's money. What's your take on just kind of the overall, context of what's going on around, being in the markets and people who haven't been in there, being exposed to it in a lot of predatory and not predatory ways?
Yeah.
I'll say the last time we saw this much money pumped into the market, we saw the Great Depression, which resulted in the New Deal, a bunch of government subsidized housing, a bunch of people in bread lines, unemployed because we made money that we could not back to the rest of the world. Then you saw the Great Recession, where Barack Obama is inheriting a country that essentially our dollar.
You had it.
Okay, hello capitalism.
You had it.
United States Corporation of America at this point. So for me, I think that there needs to be a little bit invest in things that are recession proof. And that's going to require some research on its own, because the things that will outlast the next recession are not going to be the same things that outlasted the first recession. So investing in aluminum is not going to do you any good now as it would have. So back to Dwayne's point, betting on a horse, like as we move towards a lifestyle that's more centered around quantum computing and more countries, more infrastructures actually aligning and streamlining how they operate their infrastructures, there's going to be a unified payment across countries, and that may be Bitcoin, that may be what we see now, where you have the US dollar, a euro, and then a franc, and all of those are able to be interchanged on an exchange, if you will.
Yep.
So I think my biggest piece of advice is to invest in things that are recession proof. Real estate is recession proof. People always need someplace to live or work. And if you can do it, rent out to the government, because they're not going out of business. So rent out HUD housing, Section 8 homes. If you can get into commercial, figure out how to get a government entity actually in your business, in your building, which is a little bit harder to do. And then anything else that I would suggest, pharmaceuticals, marijuana is an amazing thing to invest in right now, as a ton of other states start to look into what they want to do with the legalization. If you look at economies of major cities like Phoenix, Denver, and Detroit, and see what that's doing to their markets, And then lastly, if we're gonna go for the trifecta, housing, pharma, and then household items. And like Johnson & Johnson, PwC, they're not going out of business because they own everything from toilet paper to airplane turbines. Like, so everything that you need
the whole spectrum.
That's the actual.
The vaccines.
Yeah,
not to mention.
My bad. Go ahead, keep going.
No, investing in those companies. Kevin Gates actually said this when he talks about his investment portfolio. He says, I invest in people. Johnson & Johnson ain't going out of business. And even for those of us who actually, for our listeners who actually live in the city of Detroit, you have seen how the Ford family responds to economic and like actual recession. Ford ain't going out of business. If we have to sell off a couple of our chains, if we got to lower our retirement packages, cool. They ain't doing that shit GM did. Excuse my language. They're not doing what Chrysler did.
Facts.
Ford is not going out of business because they operate as their shareholders are family. So when you invest in businesses, think about that. Think about who your shareholders are. Think about who's responsible for making sure that this ship floats. Because the reality is most board members, they have terms, they roll off after an amount of time, or when they've gotten a return on their investment, there's nothing else for them to gain. So then they come, like there's no they're thinking in terms of 3 years as opposed to 3 generations.
Right.
And that's the type of company that I am, I guess, looking for when I'm thinking about how I'm investing my money now. Rich, you were gonna say something, or you were joking about them vaccines, because at this point it's 6 of them now, right?
I don't know.
So yeah, the other ones got approved or started their approval process, and it hit the stocks of Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and
Pfizer.
Yep. So there will be more in the game real soon. Yep.
I don't want it to look like the bread aisle at Kroger where it's like, which one do you want? Like, I need whatever the polio vaccine is. That's a standard vaccine. It's the same no matter where you go to get it. It's the same.
Right.
Y'all need to go ahead since let's a little Black history for y'all. When y'all created all of them vaccines and medications off of Henrietta Lacks sales, go back and hit up Sis's Locker. Pay her family for what you did and give her the just desserts. I'm sure that the cure is in her cells. She cured everything else.
Yeah, and then low key, and this is not to sound crazy. Even if they was like giving like 0.01%, that's still from what they made. That's still the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like even if they want to cut it. Like even if they want to be as cheap as you want to be, that as much as y'all made, that's still a bag. You know what I'm saying? Good God. So
for those of you who don't know who Henrietta Lacks is, she was a Black woman, a Black mother and wife. And like most women, she was coupled. She spent some time in the hospital. She actually went to go be treated for a woman's issue. You can research what it is. But she went to be treated for something else. And during the course of staying in the hospital staff took blood samples from her and recognized that her cells had such anomalies that they proceeded to run a test on this woman for the months leading up to her death. And in them sourcing her cells, they created the cures to like polio, the chicken pox vaccine, like all of these modern medicines, actually like penicillin as it currently exists today, like all of the modern medicines that we use to take care of some of our ailments were generated from this woman's illegally sourced cells. Her family has not been compensated justly. They have received some funding as a result of a book that was published telling her story. But to that point, give me Henrietta Lacks. Like I don't need 6 different options from big pharma companies that's already poisoning us with like pollution and stuff. A Black woman.
That's an interesting take, and I want to throw something in on that too. I think so one thing that I've been doing a lot of research around is just kind of how the vaccine process, started, and how it took kind of an international, intergovernmental effort to get all of these competing entities to work together to bring this thing out. And what I imagine now is a part of that agreement to work the way people were working was that there were going to be a lot of options that people could take. Because if 1 or 2 companies just was doing it without all the government backing, without all that stuff, people would still be going through it, and we still wouldn't be there. So what I'm assuming is, based on the research I've done, it's a lot more out there that I just couldn't see. But there had to be some kind of deal in there to say we're going to let a couple go to market, and kind of as consumption goes, to say, okay, people are going to take what they know. There will be some like the generic version of things out there. Just that's how pharma has been playing it. So I think it's been an interesting marriage to that point. Having all those out there.
Mm. None of them are FDA approved yet, right?
I don't think so, because they went through the speed process. They got special approval to get out to market before they could kind of go through what they typically do. So I don't believe that they are.
Yeah, none of them are.
Pfizer and Moderna are in stage 2 of CDC approval.
Okay, okay. I knew it had to be close, but
got you.
But with that being said, I get it. I don't want a monopoly on. I'm not saying that I want a monopoly, but I do want some regulation.
I'm with that.
Or if even we're going to say, okay, so Pfizer is creating a vaccine for children. We're going to focus specifically on American youth ages 0 to 12. And Moderna is going to focus on the elderly. That's cool. But I'm not cool with all this variation, especially like just kind of like this smoke and mirrors idea of. And to preface, I'm vaccinated. It's a choice that I've made. I've been vaccinated since March 26, 2021.
Okay.
I chose to do it for my family and for the work that I do in my community. Not that it's going to prevent me from actually getting the disease, but I know that I had to make the decision that was best for my house.
Yeah.
However, similar to this last presidential election, it wasn't one where I was like, okay, cool. It was all right. We're gonna pick the least worst bad one,
right?
And see what happens.
I got vaccinated too, and it was kind of the same feeling. Like, well, at least I got to decide whether I'm gonna get vaccinated or not no more. You know what I'm saying? At least I ain't got to have that eternal struggle no more about that. It's because it's done. It's too late. I already got it. And if I grow another arm, I already told y'all.
I remember you put that in the chat.
I'm gonna keep it.
So I think this. To speak to it, I say, I think the vaccine rollout has been very interesting and unique. I think the Biden administration handled it better than the Trump administration, of course, because they, that's not something they believed in at all. I do think, however, that it's been interesting to see who has and who hasn't gotten it and for what reasons. I think that I don't know. I think that there's so many questions that are yet to be determined. But I think that in the best of society, I think that I don't know. I think that I'm still kind of waiting to see. I just recently took a trip to New Orleans. Me and the family went down to New Orleans. Just got back yesterday. And to see the amount of it was so funny. Like, we masked up and make sure we follow what we could follow. But it was interesting to be somewhere like that. And it was kind of if one, you down south, two, people will or won't wear the mask or whatever, or are vaccinated. But it was like a step back in time. It was like 2019. Like, it was just like a normal things happening. It was, festivals going on and, people eating in restaurants and all this crazy stuff. And, I had coronavirus. I was, I had it, for real. So a part of my rationale has been, I believe that there is the idea that if you were exposed to it, that's also a means by which of a certain level of protection. I also believe that there are also, other ways that were diagnosed that you could do, mask and distance, to also protect yourself as you continue to make your decision. So I don't know. I've been using a lot of other kind of ways, and I think what's been interesting to me is there's been so much research. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up on why people have or haven't been vaccinated, but a really good study came out. I don't remember the name of it, and it kind of broke people down into 4 categories that haven't gotten it yet. It was all the way from the people who are just kind of anti-conspiracy, that they're not going to get it. Some people who are just kind of transient and just haven't found the time, or, lifestyle hasn't allowed them to. And some people who are just kind of waiting for more information. And I think the last group was those who are just waiting for other people around them to get it. So I think that it's been an interesting kind of thing. I really appreciate that there's been so many. We've been taking so many different routes to get to the solution of getting to society that we want. And I think I'm happier about that than I think I was under the other administration, because it just seemed like, everybody was just going to die. Now it's like people going to be alive. Now it's just going to be who going to be those people.
Yeah, it's been kind of weird though. Like, You said Biden, I got kind of triggered or whatever.
I was sliding that in there.
I got kind of triggered or whatever. It's just things I don't like. I don't think any of us like to be underestimated. Yeah, well, lied to for sure, right? But underestimated
for sure that
underestimated, right? So when you say something like, if you take the vaccine, then you what did he say? You won't have to worry about the coronavirus or something like that. He said something crazy when basically they removed all of the regulation around COVID or whatever. I mean, the reality is they need the economy to open back up and get back to it, right? Like the large corporations are tired of investing into Bitcoin and Ethereum. They want to get back to the US dollar. They tired of getting beat up by China as China manipulates the hell out of our currency and our value and everything. Like, that's always for real. Like,
they hold so much of it.
Yeah, and don't say, and so when he said that, he had that thing, that press conference where he said, if you have the vaccine, you don't have to wear your mask. Like, dog, you're not convincing nobody to take the vaccine by saying that. Like, how stupid do you think? You think we that stupid? I know you don't think we that stupid. Not you, of all people. You know what I'm saying? So I when you said his name, I got triggered, and I voted for Biden. You know what I'm saying? We all know, but it's kind of like what is it when you used to play the jump ropes? It would be two people twirling the jump ropes, and somebody got to jump in the double dutch. It's kind of like we double dutching into an open, and we trying to catch the rhythm. We kind of think, oh, it's still kind of messed up. I just heard what happened to India. Oh, we all the way open. You know what I'm saying? It's like we really don't know what the hell is going on right now. That's how I feel.
I completely second that, and I think we need to hold ourselves accountable. And I'm actually taking this as an opportunity to transition. So when we Black people, I'm talking to you, when Black folks elected Biden, because y'all said he got that Black girl with him, he down.
Right, we said it.
Okay, and I yes to a Black woman being the Vice President of the United States of America. Yes. However, I told y'all during that election, your stock went up. Act like it. Act accordingly. Sit down and think about what you want to ask for, and what do? We didn't do any of that. And so now we are outraged that there's an Asian hate bill, which we shouldn't be. We should expect our government to take care of people who are being mistreated, especially a population of people that they put in internment camps less than a generation ago. There are people who are still alive in the United States who were in internment camps on U.S. soil. However, them Asian people got a bag. Not only do they have a bag, all of their family back home is responsible for like 70% of the exports in the country. So let's continue to act crazy with them and see what happens to our treaties and see what happens to our export agreements. We're not going to continue to mistreat this population of individuals and think that the people who look like them across the globe are going to stand for it. Detroit, y'all didn't listen. And going back to the vaccination thing, nearly 50% of the state of Michigan is vaccinated. You want to know how many of us are vaccinated? Less than 30. We are down in Greektown 4 days a week, going ham, no mask on. Y'all know you're not vaccinated. Y'all been selling vaccinated cars on Facebook Marketplace. I'm telling on y'all. I hope they find y'all.
Oh, she's telling it all.
Because y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. If y'all didn't want to take care of yourselves, don't be endangering the rest of us. But with that being said, we are not taking care of ourselves. Here we are, again, trying to figure out, well, should I get vaccinated? It's a dumb reason to be like, oh, well, I'm going to see if the people around me do it. Either way, like if they do or if they don't, to dictate how you are going to live your life based off of the masses is absolutely insane when we're not making an educated decision. So I'm hoping that y'all going to listen to me this time because y'all didn't listen to me last time. It's election time. Let's make some educated decisions.
I want to throw something up. Because I've been, having these conversations and I want to get you guys' take on it. So and I think it was to one of Rich's points when he's talking about, America wants to open the economy up, get back to work. What we're noticing I think we may have talked about it before, but I got a new take on it. what we're noticing now is that Americans, by and large, are enjoying, especially those who have. Let me just say it first. Americans are enjoying what's been going on as far as not having to go to work, enjoying the other side of what America provides. And the corporations who underpay these people, expect them to do all this crazy stuff, can't get them back to work because of what's been going on with the pandemic. And there's been kind of this kind of thought around it. These lazy people aren't going back to work. They're hurting America versus, a stance of saying, finally, the workers is getting something out of this. Y'all been getting it for years. They finally getting something. Let them breathe and move this economy. But to your point, with the economy moving back forward and getting people back to work, or people saying, I'm going to keep getting the whatever bread I'm going to get, the same way y'all got the bread y'all got. What's y'all take on that? This whole back to work, people not wanting to go back to work narrative, any kind of take on that?
For me, I feel like you make the choice that you can maintain. Like, I think it's important for you to have work-life balance. I think it's important for you to be happy. Your mental health is always the precedent. But if not going back to work is not going to be sustainable long-term, if you're not going to be able to continue this for what the duration of your life period is going to be, then you've made the wrong choice. Or you failed to plan, which is a problem. I'm an entrepreneur and I enjoyed being able to truly sit at home with my baby, to learn her, to spend time observing her. But I also know that baby needs health insurance. And in America, health insurance is very expensive.
That's the most expensive.
Out of pocket, okay? So what's nice? Having a client or a full-time job that provides health benefits. Now, in that full-time job, I, of course, have flexibility to continue to do all of my other entrepreneurial endeavors, but my full-time job gives me something that I need to be able to operate my lifestyle. Unemployment ain't gonna last forever. We legit been riding the wave as long as we have. And what most people don't realize is unemployment is not a gift to you. Unemployment is a gift to capitalism. If you're not getting taxes taken out of it, the government is coming to get that.
They're coming for that.
If you have not done investments with your, if you just living to pay bills, which there's no judgment here because poverty exists for a reason. If you just living to pay bills, the bills are still going to be there when unemployment runs out. And there's quite a few people who are living on these government subsidies who would not have been able to get them short of the pandemic. So that's my take.
So how do I feel about going back to work? So it's as we were talking about, as the rest of the country was saying, the numbers are going down. We had a spike in Michigan somehow, right? When we had some of the most, I guess, we had a lot of rules.
Spike is here. Spike is still present.
It's still present, right? It's still present. And
right.
I think that there's, everybody's going back to work. Well, a lot of people are. You have what's going on in India, which is crazy, and probably some other places that there's spikes as well. And it's all of these different news, these pockets of news around COVID are just sitting here at different spots, and it's they ignoring each other. You know what I'm saying? How is it all cool right here, but in this part of the world, it's not. It doesn't add. And you know what I'm saying? And people look at me like I'm crazy for bringing it up. We could, I think kids are going back to school next year, right? Yeah. And some of them will be in school this summer, in front of each other. And for what I do, I have to kind of make that decision. And I've made as I was considering it, that's when it started spiking. I'm like, no, we're not going into any school this summer. Now I think I'm gonna reconsider it. I don't know. I mean, it goes from day to day to figure out what's really going on. It's I can't really tell the news. You have to decipher what type of news you think is acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Can I hear from a nurse? Is the nurse saying that the emergency rooms is packed? You know what I'm saying? What's the death number? The death rate's at? I can't even look at positive cases of COVID anymore because I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't really trust that. I'm not traveling anywhere this year. I don't think. I would like to, you know what I'm saying? For real. But it's it's so many conflicting reports about what's going on. So I don't know.
Okay. I want to hear what everybody had to say about it. This is what I think by and large. I think for a change, a change is happening. Like, we always knew the future of work would look different. The pandemic came and it showed what was essential and what wasn't and what could happen. And what we're seeing now is kind of the last kind of wave of what it looks like to either have opportunities or not have opportunities, and you got to plan for either. However it's going to work for you. We go into a digital economy. We go into, back to our traditional thing. Just make sure you plan and find out what you're going to do. Because once all those government subsidies end, and just in a tea leaf, 2024 is coming. And if you've been following anything happening now, it's going to be very interesting. So, you got to make sure you got to do what's best for you.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I want to get back to doing what's best for us. We have some interesting things going on in Detroit politics for those of us who are listening from other places. This is an election year for us. Our mayoral seat, our city council is up for re-election, and we have seen 13 individuals actually run and be certified by the the City of Detroit Board of Elections to run for mayor in this upcoming election. And we have 4 out of the 7 current city council members who are stepping down at the end of this election. That includes Raquel Castaneda, Andre Spivey, Gabe Leland, and Brenda, long-term incumbent Brenda Jones. As a resident of Corktown, Councilmember Castaneda Lopez's district, not to say that I'm biased, but she was the only individual who is stepping down or not running for re-election this election who named a successor. She said, "This is who I put my bill behind, and here's why," and listed the platform as to why she supported them. We have seen that City Council President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield is not running again after this election. So she's running unopposed currently, but will not choose to run again moving forward. Gabe Leland. Listen,
if you get jammed up, don't mention my name.
Listen, okay? I'm just going to say I had a good hearty chuckle that it was not one of my cousins who got caught up in the feds, okay? I had a good hearty it wasn't one of us who caught charges in the city council, okay? I'm happy that it wasn't.
It's for a change.
And with all of that being said, I really hope that the legal community is able to support you, Gabe Leland. We wish you the best. With that being said, City Council, their transition has been a little concerning. Whereas I feel like Mayor Duncan is kind of sticking his chest out like, this is what I'm bringing to the table when y'all gonna let Daddy come home again for another term. Okay? Because as we transition into, what was this third term?
Yep.
This will be the third term. We have seen a $30 million investment from HUD to invest in Corktown. For those of you who are not familiar with the city, Corktown is a neighborhood in the city that has just received a $200 million investment from Ford Motor Company. They are rehabbing the old train station to make it a tech, like a science and STEAM tech hub. In addition to that, there's also another $250 million in investment going on from like private investors up and down the corridor, specifically Michigan Ave. Duncan came in with $30 million from HUD. Like, I'm gonna bring 500 affordable homes to Corktown. In addition to that, what most people didn't hear about, the mayor's office released this statement on May 6, 2021, that the City of Detroit and Rocket Community Fund, for those of you who do not know, that is Dan Gilbert, aka the Quicken Loans mogul. That is his philanthropic arm. $2.2 million invested in advanced housing stability in Detroit.
AKA the real mayor.
Okay? The puppet master. Dan Gilbert said, I run this, okay? My name is on the street.
For real, I run this.
Okay? And I think what most of us are not, like, we are seeing these numbers, we are seeing these investments, And what most people are not realizing, it is going to be used as a political game for this upcoming election. One of the things that I actually, I don't know for saying this, I have issue with the fact that we are getting ready to fumble another bag. So we, in a previous federal election, there was a seat held by United States Senator, correct? He was a senator.
Yep.
United States
House Rep, yeah.
Representative John Conyers, please excuse me for
Congressman, yeah.
Okay, the prestigious John Conyers Sr. Look, God rest his soul. This man held this seat for what is the equivalent of a Ford Motor Company career. This man held this seat for almost 30 years. An entire generation of people were born, graduated from school, started families of their own, and got to tell their kids in kindergarten about John Conyers. This man held that seat for that long, okay? His son and his nephew decided to get on the national stage for this federal campaign and show their behinds, split the black vote, and we lost the seat. We have 13 people running for the city of Detroit mayor seat. Still is an 80% black city. I do not understand how we are willing to split the vote for people who, like, I just need these folks to come to the front of the congregation, because I think that it is in poor taste for you to take something as serious as the city of Detroit's mayor's seat. You don't have no statistics. You don't have no money behind you. Like, nobody's coming behind you with a bag. And I think that most people think that running a city is like, people pay taxes and that's how that works. Yes, but you have to have big business come in as well. You need somebody to employ these people, which is why Dan Gilbert runs the city of Detroit. If we have not paid attention to how that is playing out, Duggan says, Dan, you need what? Huh? Because in addition to financing the purchases of all these dilapidated properties and purchasing the commercial properties to hold on your own, you're also employing the majority of our residents in one way or the other. If they ain't working for Quicken, they're working for one of the subsidiaries.
Yeah.
So I do not understand how we're seeing it happen. We're literally seeing what happens when you are supposed to be running a major city and your marketing for your campaign is a billboard off of the lodge. And a Facebook page with programming. I do not understand. I don't feel comfortable saying, okay, I don't feel comfortable enough trusting in any of these candidates to run the city, because no one in your circle had enough sense to tell you this is a bad idea. So now, when you're supposed to be responsible for figuring out what our economy, what our budget is supposed to look like moving forward, who's supposed to sit in the in our police chief seat, all of those decisions require for you to have a sound team around you. And clearly, nobody was on the team, because they did not say, hey, you don't have no money. You don't have no platform. You quite honestly don't have a political clout or bandwidth to be able to negotiate this, because let's be clear. You cannot grassroots your way into an election in a city that has a footprint as big as the city of Detroit. You winning that election is political clout and network. It is Rotary Club. It is your sorority. It is the churches. It is Second Ebenezer, Greater Grace Temple. It is the unions. It is IBEW. It is UAW. It is all of those things woven together to be able to create an actual candidate. And if you don't know that, please take some time to go and watch Scandal and or House of Cards, and they will divulge all of these things to you.
You just dropped a lot. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, like, and I don't need to double back. I'm gonna get a whole nother take. You killed that shit. I think that one thing that I've noticed with, even the people who are stepping down or choosing to go to a statewide or a citywide seat, or however people are moving, one thing that I think I like to bring to the table is the perspective of, if you think about over the last 10 years, how the ownership of Detroit has been changing. So you think about some of these districts, you think about kind of, this is like one of the chess moves. One was, Mayor Duggan winning for a new Detroit to take place. The next one was the development that's happened over this time. City council is in districts. And if you look at where people were buying, and people who want the council not to look the way it looked like now, it looked one way now, but it's planning to look another way in the future. So just think about where these people are stepping down from, where some of these deals have been done, who holds a majority in some of these districts, not citywide, but some of these districts and even citywide. So if we aren't careful, our city will start to look the way that the money is expecting for it to look soon. So the city council may look a little more like a surrounding suburb city council, because that's who live here now. That's who have the political clout now. That's who's connected. That's who can just turn out votes and do it that way. So I think that's one thing, just kind of a big picture to be worrisome about. And then I think, speaking to the candidate route, the one thing that I think, so there's one thing about personal ambition. Politics comes off of personal ambition. Is period. Somebody got to have the ambition to say, I can win. Okay, I get that. I'm managed campaigns before. But one thing, to Phaedra's point, I think is, at this level, I think there's a lot of things that can come from a successful run. So for some, it's, I got to build some clout so I can talk my social media. Other ones, I want to take the position I have in the city now, and I want to make it just a little bit bigger. For some, I really want to win. For some, I want to stay relevant. So I can see how personal ambition can get you into things like that. But the larger point of really having a chance to win it, you need that infrastructure that comes from all those entities that make a candidate at that level. But I do think there are other wins along the way for people's personal ambition that may position them better to understand it as they move forward. So that's kind of my take on it.
What was the last campaign that we saw that was ran good, that we feel that was ran good in Detroit? Does anybody have, for my example, he didn't actually win. Damn. Okay. Yeah. I guess if that's a qualifier that they have to win.
Who would you suggest if they didn't win?
Garland.
For mayor?
He lost. Just campaign period.
Garland,
just campaign period. I feel like he ran a good campaign, but somehow he still lost. But when we think about those boxes,
even rest in peace, Benny Napoleon's race for mayor. He was just fighting against a bear, but they did as much as they could versus anybody else that fought against Duggan. So that would be one.
Actually, I asked
Duggan.
I think so. I'm not gonna say that Duggan ran a good election. I'm gonna say Duggan did a great job at fundraising, which is an important part of running. It is an important. We literally live in a country that is made of money. Like, we were born into a world that gives us everything that we need to survive, and we decided to come in America and print money to purchase it back. I really think that it's important to note, like, Duggan has consistently built the bag, and him being able to build the bag, not chase it, he's building it. Like, the bag is his. Every brick that's in that mug is his. He's
where the money resides. You know what I'm saying?
Where it resides,
right there, wherever he is.
And his homeboy rolling with him. The two of them have a mutual agreement where he's exchanging property, because the city of Detroit is very land rich, in exchange for capital increase. If I'm being completely honest, it is going to take a combined effort, because I don't know any other business owners who have invested. And if I'm being completely honest, Dan Gilbert has invested. You can't talk bad about that man. You want to know why? Because Rocket Community Fund invests in probably about 60% of the nonprofits, one way or the other, within the city of Detroit's actual outlines. In addition to that, everybody that he employs, them people not getting ready to turn on the boss, and they get in the bag. Like, them Wicked Laws is out here employing people, and
they get a nice check.
21-year-olds are making six figures because there's nothing else to do.
And they bought a home for the low and an investment property for the low in the city.
Okay,
they ain't mad about it.
And buying them the new condos.
Yep, they ain't mad about it.
So for me, when we're thinking about what we want our next mayoral candidate to look like, I appreciate that people are gainfully employed. I appreciate that there's investment happening in our nonprofits so that children are learning to read on the weekends, and we're building literacy in schools, and all of those things are taking place. And either we're going to make them accountable by saying, all right, cool. So even though y'all giving us this, we still are a very Black city. We still have other needs and acts out of them. Or y'all going to put forth a candidate that can actually hold their weight in the ring. Like, I'm not going to say no names because I want to stay above board here, but what are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
Who
Do y'all think?
Who are these people? Who are they?
Yeah, I got a question.
Adams and his excuse me for saying the name, and his career with Kwame. Like, yes, thank you. We're a phenomenal deputy mayor, but how? The mayor. We're talking about the mayor now.
Yeah. Do this is off topic and you know, just a quick. How do y'all? So I noticed that I saw somewhere that Detroit's population dropped, I guess on the record, below 80% to 78%. Do y'all have any thoughts on that, or do you think it's important? I know there's probably a lot of people that didn't fill out the paperwork to be counted anyway, but
You're referring to the census?
I guess so. I just saw the number somewhere. I was doing some research for something, and I'm like, oh, it's 78%. I thought we were over 80%. So, and that was interesting to me.
When you say over 80%, are you saying
Black.
Over 80% Black?
Yeah, over 80% Black in Detroit.
Oh, okay. So let's. I'm gonna be completely honest in saying that I don't know how true that is, or how likely it is that we got accurate data. And when did the census conclude? It concluded before the pandemic or during?
During. That was in 2020, the election year.
It was just blurry.
They ended it early up. They ended it like I think October 31st. I think they ended it, and or earlier than that. They wasn't supposed to, or something like that.
Yeah, everything's blurring. I don't know. This is like literally it's after COVID now. AC. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. No, I will say this. I think. Oh no, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm doing too much. I'm mute. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I think.
Don't mute.
Go ahead. All right, cool. Not a problem. I think that they have seen like a population increase. I also know that a lot of the places that have traditionally worked for collecting census data were not open as a result of the pandemic. Yeah. So I think the data could be a little skewed. Yeah. There's that.
Yeah. What are you about to say, Dwayne?
Oh, you know, I think a couple things about the data. I think one, like there is a train of thought that, you know, I always go back to that new Detroit, old Detroit. Like that's been the plan of underdevelopment, for knocking down houses, for overtaxing. The result is to make sure that though our grandmothers and godmothers who still own those houses aren't in those houses and don't live there anymore. So the numbers can start to turn another way. So as you know, we were just having a conversation around, you know, what new Detroit kind of looks like, you know, young people making money, very transient, got their bread. But on the other end, it means, you know, grandma, auntie, and them that raised us around here have been underdeveloped. So that number is supposed to go down for them. You know what I'm saying? The way city council goes and looks a different way is that number of Blacks goes down. We already know, you know, ownership goes down. So I think that is there. And I do agree with Phaedra, the numbers aren't right because, you know, it wasn't done well. But right. I think that's the recipe that saying, okay, we'd have put the investment in, we'd have had a certain thing here, the number dipped, COVID, people passed, property went a certain way. Okay, take a temperature. Okay, we're getting closer. Now the next thing. So now, so I think that's kind of the next step. But I don't believe that those numbers are accurate. But I can see a way where it would be, because I think you know, one thing that I think is very important, because remember, just with the overtaxing of people's property tax, what that meant for people to go into you know, foreclosure, who was just holding on. Look, I've been holding on. I'd have made it through 9, 10, 11, 12 into 20 into 21. Damn, you got me now. So there's so, even with how the land bank is moving now and how so many properties are moving, like that's kind of been the design. You know what I'm saying? Get them niggas up out of there so we can turn this into the metropolis it once was. Just so happened as people. So we speak through a lot of things through a very interesting class lens. You know, some of us have, you know, JD, some of us have masters, some of us have, you know, bachelors, whatever we have. So we tend to see things where we can appreciate on the class lines where development is helping. But for some of us who aren't as, you know, well off as we've been, however we want to define that, this development has been hurting the fuck out of people. You know what I'm saying? People's kids ain't been able to go to school before the pandemic. People have been losing the house with the little bit of equity that has been raised over the years. So I mean, it's a ticker for what has been attempting to happen. It's just where we are in our class, we've been able to benefit from it, where others who are maybe in our families or associated under the class that we're under are really got ravaged by it. So those 6-figure jobs that we were just talking about to those young, movers and shakers that's down there came at the expense of auntie and mama and daddy and that house they used to live in, or some of that narrative. So, but for people who went to college and went to undergrad, now they can pay their student loan, now they can go travel, now we can get it popping. So that's the other side of it. So it's a lot. It's kind of a double side to that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that is a perfect transition point. I think that as you proceed to pop your collar and chase your bag, young millennials, we think that it is important that you make sound decisions. So invest where you need to make that happen. Keep in mind that mass land grabs take place all over the country, i.e. Atlanta, Chicago, New York. And here we are in Detroit, history repeating itself. But I want to imagine a place where all of us are together again. And for me, that is Black Panther. Wakanda forever, okay? I just really, happy birthday, Chadwick. Congratulations, Chadwick.
Congratulations. They go from one bison to the next. You know what I'm saying?
Baby, listen. You out here doing it from beyond, honey. You went on to the ancestors and still
you on the yard, bruh.
Your name, boo.
With the sororities and the fraternities and he's there. Like that's
iconic. A part of Black culture forever. We are so happy that we finally got a release date for Black Panther 2. And what made it even better for me, Princess Shuri is going to be the new Black Panther. I'm here for it, okay? I am here to see what it looked like. A Black woman in tech and STEM. So I'm excited. I can't wait to go show my baby Black female superhero. Like, now we got somebody for our sons and our daughters. Like, that's crazy.
And that's real. They just have to pick. You know what I'm saying?
And both of them Black Panther. That's one outfit.
And they both are Black Panther, right? Listen,
I'm interested.
I'll say this and I'll be real quick about it. My oldest son, who's 10, we got a chance to enjoy Black Panther together. And my young one, who's 2, when it finally comes out, we'll have a chance. One thing that I loved about it was the movie was so successful and so renowned that it kind of built an urban legend around how it would move forward. Would they bring back Killmonger? Would they go with Asuri, how they did in the comics? Would they go back into a previous time? Would they change it? What would they do? And, when have we had the ability to tell stories like this that ain't in the hood, that ain't somebody, a street story? This is sci-fi at its best. So we're going to see things in a staff of people who've done this before. I got some ideas that we ain't even seen yet. Some technology we ain't even seen people use. So I'm ready for us to have our Star Wars shit, be Black futurist and enjoy it, and not just have to always enjoy that thug shit. Though I do enjoy it from time to time, but I just want some other shit too. So I'm excited.
Duality is key. Duality is key.
Yeah, you gotta have both, right?
I think that Black Panther it raised my expectation of what I expect of a movie of all Black people, right? So like, we talked about Coming to America, and even after that, I loved everything about what went into the movie, you know what I'm saying, and being at Rick Ross's house and all of that and everything like that. But I'm like, I need that Wakanda though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't I need the Wakanda aspect. So I'm excited for the movie to come back out and the next chapter.
I am too. I think
that's gonna be lit. I just can't wait to see like what Ryan Coogler cooked up that first time, and now I've done it before, and I got so much more input on what can happen, what can be. Please, that's gonna be crazy. Yeah, you know how brothers and sisters do.
We need to trust the process, like acknowledge the fact. Richard, are you clicking a pen?
Yeah, my bad.
He looking at them options dates and they coming up, You
want to know how I do it with him? Our first Be Me session, he was clicking a pen, like in that small room in the hotel. By the where we had where they had them big round tables. Our first session.
Yep, I remember.
Why are you clicking this pen, sir?
At the book Cadillac.
But yeah, I think we should trust the process. Like I am fully. I think Ryan Coogler has the thing that to your point, Rich, about Coming to America too. I want Black excellence without the parody. Like I want us to be regal and intelligent and critical thinkers without the parody. Like I don't want any like awkward hum note Black humor. Like
the norm.
That's respect for us.
Right.
With Panther, I want that to be Black excellence. Show them who you are, Angela Bassett, crown of glory on type deal. That's what I want. And I think that's what he knows the legacy needs to be, especially considering that this film is definitely going to be dedicated in Chadwick's honor.
And like I kind of think about it like this, like and it's, probably a bad analogy. Tyler Perry had to walk, so so Coogler and them could run. Okay, listen, I'll give you the slapstick and make a bread off of it. But now the people coming behind me don't got to do that. They can write stories and be people who we've never seen before. Because I did that, unfortunately or fortunately, but I made a bag doing it. So I kind of think about it like that too.
Yeah.
And I'll make the argument that I feel like Tyler Perry's work was more so giving us a safe space for us to talk about the ghetto, not the ghetto, but like the calamity that happens in the Black,
the hurt and the pain within the community. Real talk.
Happened in a play, and that's a little bit different than like Hollywood.
I agree.
So whereas for me, Coming to America 2 was Hollywood. This was like Eddie Murphy's legacy. Like we were very clear on who he was and what he's amassed in his career. But to that point, I'm excited to see what the next chapter looks like. Speaking of next chapters, J. Cole, he didn't the man didn't wrote a couple books for us. He didn't wrote a couple sagas. This quarter, we were not prepared. He dropped the album, told us that he was going to start a career in basketball, started the career and retired in 30 days. In true millennial fashion, he was like, here is everything. Okay, y'all have it all. I did it done. Okay.
Let's get this tour going.
Okay?
Right. Let's get this money.
Let's get this tour going.
Okay. Yeah. And I guarantee you that my man's is gonna drop a bar. And if anybody, like, I'm a huge J. Cole fan, so can't nobody say anything about this man. Like I'm so happy that he is happily married to a Black woman because I'm gonna let them pursue they piece together. But if he wasn't,
he's still folding clothes.
Listen, okay, that man he can't do no wrong. He is literally a lyrical genius. So poignant. So like for me, he does something that I think is important in hip hop. Back in the day, they called it intellectual hip hop. I think it's important that J. Cole can, put out a fire bar that can end up on the top 100, but also be like, yo, you do know that you only make money for touring, right? And if you touring based off of a bunch of 15-year-olds, you cute now because you 19 of them. But when them 15-year-olds have kids, who you gonna tour for?
Right.
Like even giving the hustle behind, like this is something that we're seeing from Jay-Z now. Like Jay-Z was giving us the hustle behind selling like actual crack cocaine in his earlier career. When we talking about the Blueprint 1, the Blueprint 2, J. Cole,
you kicking knowledge.
Listen, okay, baby is blessed. Okay,
you kicking knowledge.
Beauty.
You on it.
But for us to be getting to 444, where he's talking about this is how I'm amassing wealth with my wife and my children. I could have bought a building in Dumbo when it was worth like $2 million. Same building worth $20 million. Type energy. Like J. Cole for me is doing it. Like I can't. I stand. He's perfect in my eyes. So
hey, I'm with you.
I'm getting girl right now. I'm gonna let y'all take it.
What you got, Rich? I know you got a good take.
I guess I don't. I mean, he went over there. He dropped that album, which it was needed. He dropped that freestyle before the album, which was appreciated. Went crazy on it. And then he went to play basketball in Rwanda, which I think that was dope. Like Royce had a post. Royce da 5'9" had a Instagram post. And he was like, he's giving us an example of saying that you don't have to be boxed into one dream or one goal, right? And even though he retired or, left the team or whatever, fulfilled his obligations, he still did what he wanted to do. He still moved freely and in freedom, which is what what we all want and want for our kids. So yeah, it's cool. I did see some of the, highlights, some film of the games a little bit. You know what I mean? And I probably would have hung them up too.
Listen, y'all ain't playing pro ball.
No, I'll say this though. I think one, the album was fire. But I want to take it a step back. Remember the summer, he and I believe it was No Name traded some barbs on, female rapper.
Yeah.
Traded some barbs on social media and exchanged some song stuff. And then he dropped the freestyle and then he just dropped the album, which I think was needed. I've been listening to it since it came out. I'm just enjoying the music. Like I really appreciate it for that. I think that I think it was so dope that you can fulfill more than one dream at one time. And then I think what was so respectable about it is I'm gonna go do what I want to do, but I'm also gonna respect the craft for what it is. These people have been doing. I don't listen. You made it to pro ball. That's what's up, and I'm with that. But these people, they ain't had no mic. They've been playing ball since they could, and they might have been playing D1 somewhere, and this is where they land. I think that spot should be left for them. I'm glad you fulfilled your dream, but that spot is for somebody else who gave their life to that the same way you give it to hip hop. So that's the other kind of piece of it. And then the last piece I think, which is dope, is I think Cole found that interesting balance between revealing himself to be honest and then kind of walking in it. He came out with an album last year, said 1985, I'm alive, I was born, basically. You know what I'm saying? He dated himself in hip hop where nobody listen. You won't even hear Jay say nothing. Hey man, Jay, how old are you? I got this money. Don't worry about it. And to be able to say, I want to walk through this world respecting the old heads, but being as much of a hand back to the young generation. You hear 21 Savage on the record. You hear, you remember what he did a couple years ago with bringing everybody down to Dreamville, the little young acts, and working with them, trying not to be that asshole old head to say, y'all kids don't know nothing, and say, no, let's try to build these worlds as much as we can. And then, doing it with Drake still popping where he is and doing it where, his main rival, Kendrick Lamar, kind of decided to take another route. You know what I'm saying? So J. Cole is kind of reinstating himself as saying, you know what, as you mention names, yeah, I'm a K-Dot fan, but as you mention names, you see who keeps coming at you consistently with all kind of sounds, all kind of music, all kind of rollouts that's not typical. I don't have to do what these people are doing, and I can still be successful. So I think it's a blueprint for what the young artists can pull from. And also one song on the album, he rapping just like Fabulous. So when Fab put the auto tune on and start riffing, and I was thinking, like, as he starts to ascend to that level, what happens to even our greats, old head rappers? Where they have to give room for Cole to be, to go there, and people, of that. So I'm all for that album. I think I'm still not ready to give it a review yet. It's just so good. I haven't even heard enough of it, but I've been bumping it since it's been out. Cole doing his thing. I'm glad he hooped. I'm glad he stepped away. Go with the tour. I can't wait to hear how they turn what they did in the music into live music and vibe on that shit. So yeah, I'm here for it all day.
I'm here for it. I think as we think about like transitions, especially I think J. Cole is just iconic. And for those of you who haven't listened to that album, please know that my man has hands, okay? So be careful with his name. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, Cole, he ripped that shit too.
He out here putting his paws on P. Diddy, okay?
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, P. Diddy, had P. Diddy on the track.
And then have him on there, right?
Like him a little ghetto too, okay? Listen. Yeah. My man's got degrees in the hands. But with that being said, I do want to talk about, like, as we create space for these great artists, I think J. Cole is making a lane for himself. I think one of the biggest things that we need to keep in mind about succession is not deletion. Like, me creating an avenue for y'all, or me even saying, hey, this is the way that you should take, which is what succession should be, is part of why J. Cole is where he is. He talks about the old heads who have kind of like ushered him forward, and which is why he does the work for himself. And another one of my loves, we're gonna transition to him before we close. I think J. Cole is doing a lot right now to show what happens when you have a solid team and you keep your head on straight in the industry. Yep. I think we've seen the inverse of that with Kanye, where he's still up. Like, Kanye has had some solid wins over the past few months, including like his bag, like
facts
is there. But on the other end, he's had some run-ins with the lovely Candace Owens. So,
So I saw a picture. I don't have a lot to say on it. It is kind of a joke. So they have these pictures circulating of them together, Kanye and Candace Owens, and people, commenting like, "Hey, Kanye, don't, I know you're not about to get with her." And my comment was, "She's not about to get with him." You know what I'm saying? And saying more about him. Like he's still black. She's not messing with him, even if he is Kanye. But that was my only comment on it. I thought it was kind of funny when people were saying that, and it's like,
So Kanye soon to be single again. Middle age, got some kids at the crib. Ex-wife. He gonna get back in the game, and I wonder where his mind is gonna be. I wonder where musically or creatively, if it's something there. I admire how he's built, entertainment, fashion, mogul, kind of portfolio that granted him, a billionaire status. I look forward to sometimes, things happen in life that bring you to your next thing. I wonder what's gonna happen with him politically. Because if you saw last year, he had an interesting turnout for the kind of political arm that they had. I wonder what's going to happen with the church stuff. Was that a shtick, or is that something you leaning into? And then I kind of wonder. He and Candace Owens can coexist in the sphere, but that spotlight, that Kanye need that spotlight. He didn't even want Kim to have it. That's his shit. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what's up with happen with Ye.
I think that's an interesting perspective. I want Kanye to spend some time filling his own gaps. I think that is important for whatever the next juncture is. And when I'm as a parent, I think and losing a parent, you lose a lot of direction, and then in gaining a child, you gain a lot of perspective. So like it is important I think that one of the things that, and I've seen happen in actual practice, because I had the opportunity to go to a Sunday service concert before the pandemic, to see him actually interact with his children. He enjoys being a father. I'm hoping that he's able to focus on his mental health.
When you take a nigga's kids away, even if it's supervised, when y'all ain't together and you can't see them like that, that changes. And you got kids that still need you as much as they needed you before. You know what I'm saying? That's the sad part about it.
Even more in the midst of a divorce, they're
getting older too, and they need more of you and more from you. You know what I'm saying? Imagine not being there with your daughter, or not being there with your son that you've been building these morals with, and just I don't know, just that's your world. I couldn't imagine coming home and they not there. Yeah, I'm a billionaire. I can go see him when I want to, but just they not here when I'm here.
Right.
I can't just sit there and get no Kool-Aid. I can't just talk to you. We can't just laugh and shit. How we always do.
I'm gonna go ahead and say something that probably y'all probably not expecting me to say. I hope they change their mind about getting divorced. I hope he gets well, right?
Yeah.
I'll get not just well. I hope he gets 100% super well, right? If that's an issue, and I hope that they actually change their mind about getting divorced and shit, live happily ever after, to explain it the way. I hope he come back over to our side as well as in terms of issues, what I'm saying, the things that he supports, and get off of the Trump side or whatever. But I hope he gets well, and I wouldn't mind if they change their mind about that, as you guys said, just not for anything, but for having a full family.
Yeah.
You need that shit.
I think that's full circle. I think that we have talked about everything this evening. I
got one take. I got one other take. I got to slide in, please. Salute to Kwame Brown, former first round draft pick of the 2001 draft, I believe it was. Has been on a revenge tour against all his many critics in basketball. I think that he's come back very handsome, very well put together, very boisterous, very him and his mama's cooking is coming for people, and so his social media following has grown. And I think he spoke to, I think, the easy part of the conversation is the personal stuff he was saying about people, but the part of the conversation that caught my attention was how he was able to speak from his experience of being an 17, 18-year-old in the league, and how sports media can go a little too far when talking about these teenage young men. If you think about professional athletes, they're from the ranges of an NBA, maybe 19 to maybe 30 something typically. In the NFL, 20s, early 20s, and you done when you 25, 30. So you're talking about these very young men in a lot of disparaging ways outside of just the game that they play. So I'm glad he brought that to the table. I appreciate that he's able to, when you haven't won typically, you can kind of talk about the beast from inside. He's been able to do that. Him and Stephen A. Smith has had the biggest kind of go back and forth. And I think, Stephen A. Smith representing kind of the establishment and where we aspire to be kind of on one side since he's the face of sports media. But then Kwame Brown saying, you can call me a bust, you can call me all these things. And he didn't live up to the hype on the court. But I think there's a line between how you define somebody in their professional acumen versus, some shots you take at them. So I appreciate him for kind of bringing the people's voice back to the table and questioning how sports media disparages, young black men. And shout out to Jalen Rose for leading that charge as well. Any other takes on it?
For me, actually, thank you for bringing that full circle because I appreciate us not full circle because I'm using that term again. Thank you for ending us on a high note. For me, I think that it's super important that we talk about. I'm not calling you. Y'all, this is what happens when you record from home. My 7-year-old has been coming in and out.
Mine on their way up.
But when you think about the fact that you had a child at 19, I knew nothing, and at 20, I became somebody's mother. That's crazy. At 19, you give this kid all of this money, and in many cases, the only thing that they've ever done is play sports. And if we're being completely honest, if you talk to any black mother who has their children in PAL or community-centered league, it's to keep them off the streets, it's to keep them from the hood dudes on the corner. So I'm using this as free childcare, actually paid childcare because I'm paying for the supplies. So for my baby to have made it to the league and now be making more money than any of us have seen in 7 generations, there's nobody to teach him how to be a good steward of that money. There's no one to teach him how to be a sound NBA player, because is there a mentorship guide that comes along with you being in the pros? What happens once you get admitted? Is it kind of oh, you're a number 1 draft pick? And then the only thing I do want to close with is shame on the NBA and shame on the NBA adjacent individuals who thought that it was appropriate because y'all was on my man's, right? He became the number 1 draft pick straight out of high school because of his talent. Y'all was talking mad cash and on his team when he did all of that. And then he had the tools. He had the tools to get to the NBA then. He got to y'all and fumbled. That means that you all failed. He didn't.
That's a good point. I don't don't have anything to add. Other than Kwame, you're just long-winded, brother. I can't sit up there and watch you go back and forth about an hour and a half saying the same thing. Cut it down to 10 minutes or get a co-host.
He learning that now, I think.
That boy is long-winded though.
Hey, I'll be loving it, fam. I feel like I'm talking to my cousin from down south, fam.
Right, but you don't watch the whole thing though. You got stuff to do. You don't sit there for an hour and a half. No,
I don't today. It's always a person who clipped the part I want to see, and that's the link. That's the link I click. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, in truth, I think we have met that mark here for next narrative as well. Yep. We are at
overtime.
Hour and 60 minutes. Okay, listen, and not that this conversation has not been enriching. I think that it's important for us to keep a couple things in mind. Some of my takeaways from this conversation: education and economics. Educate yourself on how you are going to build wealth. They say that you need 7 streams of income to live. If you are not trying to work every day until the rest of your life, work every day until you transition from this plane, you need extra income. You need real estate income. You need dividend income. You need profit-based income. There's 7 different options that you can choose from. In addition to the income that you gain from exchanging your time. If you're looking for more ways to do that, I suggest educating yourself on what applies to your lifestyle. Any points from education and economics, gentlemen?
Just pursue education or knowledge, right? And when you're investing, try to just be knowledgeable and pursue that. Try to measure twice and cut once. There's people out here losing money.
My thing is this. I love that our culture is finally playing in the market, because that's one tried and true way that wealth in America has been accumulated. The next thing I would say is take time to learn the game, and whatever that is. You know, one of my professors told me it was two kind of people in this world: those who read the Wall Street Journal and those who don't. And I told my son this just last night. There's two kind of people in the world: those who watch CNBC and those who don't. So find your way to education around how this thing works, and it's money to be made. It's American. This is apple pie. Get in the game, be real about it, have a strategy, stay in it, and we can make the kind of money they make because we're playing in their waters. We all gonna win out of this shit. So that's what I got to say.
Absolutely, I agree. With that being said, I want to transition to Detroit politics again. Another call to action. If you are a City of Detroit resident, we are having a major election in August of this year. Please do your research about the candidates, both for mayor, city council, and any of the other seats that will be on the ballot. As for pop culture, I think one of the things that we have learned is that Black excellence is everywhere, okay? Whether it be Black Panther 2 and us trying to just even imagine, like, I think one of the beautiful things about that movie is that it is causing grown folks to imagine something that we have packed away long ago, thinking about what's next? What is the superhero going to do next? How can true, like, actual Black people make this come into play on the big screen? I think that is absolutely breathtaking. I haven't been this excited since I was a kid. I'm full on ready to go, like, into the theater in costume.
You know what? You just made me think of something that I'm excited about. June is a very important month in our culture. Juneteenth. And we got Black excellence sitting right here doing some big shit that I haven't seen done. You know, I ain't heard nobody talk about it. I heard people talk about it. I ain't heard nobody do it. Can we talk about that for just a minute? We got Black excellence right here, and that's the way to end the show.
Thank y'all.
Real talk.
So again, my name's Phaedra White-Knight. I'm one of the co-hosts of Next Narrative 313. I am hosting a Juneteenth event with one of our BB brothers, or actually two of our BB fam, John Ray, the owner of the Kinfolk Group Consulting, and Shador Ford, the executive director of Destined for Greatness Mentoring. We will be hosting over 100 City of Detroit residents at the Samaritan Center on Saturday, June 19th. We are giving out 3 scholarships to high school.
Yeah.
We are feeding the kids. We are doing a diaper drive. The DPSCD is providing summer kits for the kids so that they can stay engaged. And for me, it's really just celebrating Black joy. Like, I feel like Black people have been extremely resilient since the creation of this country. And Juneteenth has so many positive like, just connotations for us. It's a time for us to celebrate, a time for us to dance, enjoy each other, and do something that we do truly enjoy, and that's fellowship. Just get outside with your kinfolk and, you know, your cousins, and do what we do. Love on one another, eat good, dance.
Oh man, that's that real shit.
Okay, that is my goal. I want to be around my people. I want us to truly, like, just embrace one another, because it's been a while. So
yeah.
Listen, 2 Chainz said this famous line here. He said, "They ask me what I do and who I do it for." And when I think about anybody, the work you're doing, you know, it's about what you do, but also who you do it for. And that's the realest shit. You know, it's easy to go have a kickback and do it all, you know, just enjoy it yourself. But the fact that it's for everybody, it's for our people. That's that real shit. That's them receipts. You know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Absolutely.
That's my goal. But thank y'all. I appreciate you. We are kicking it off again. And as always, we are so thankful for everyone who has joined us this evening. For the full 1 hour and 23 minutes. Y'all
because it's been too long. It's been a while. We had a lot of shit to talk about.
It's been too long.
Yep. And I'm really here for it, as always.
Friday evening. Yeah.
Right. Friday Eve. So we chilling.
Yes. I'm
freezing outside. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it is cold outside.
Oh, listen. I'm coming back from New Orleans, where it's been, you know, mid 80s all week, and I'm like, what is this?
Michigan. Welcome.
Yeah.
But I'm going to close out this evening, y'all. It has been a pleasure. We love you guys. We are so excited that we get to share the airways with you. So until next time, this is Phaedra, Rich, and Dwayne. We will see you next month for Next Narrative 313.
Have a good one.
They ask me what I do or who I do it for.